Please, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. And you can hear in his voice that he was not lying. Okay? The man could not breathe. For me, as a black woman, I am proud of my roots. You know, I am proud of where I come from. I am proud of the color of my skin. I am a proud African woman. Now, it does not mean because I am proud that I am a fool. It does not mean because I love my roots and my ancestors that I can be looked upon. And it could not mean that because I know where I come from, people can mock me for it. No. You know why? Because I matter. Black lives matters. They do. They do. If George Floyd was a white man, he would have gone to the police station. Someone would have bailed him out, and he would be eating with his children and his wife as we speak. But George Floyd was a black man. He was a black man driving a big car, and he was resistant. And for racism, I'm going to protest until I am tired, until I am exhausted, until my knees wobble, even if there is a pandemic and there is nothing that you can do about it. You hear me? Nothing. You probably know by now, George Floyd was a black man in America that paid with a fake note in a convenience store once the owners called the police to arrest him. He was killed in a horrific way, a way that no one should ever have to experience. He was killed on camera after 9 minutes in front of the world to see. So first of all, as a black woman, you know, when I meet a lot of people, they tell me, oh, you're lucky because you're light-skinned. You know, you're mixed race, you're light-skinned. First of all, I'm not mixed race. I'm Ethiopian. Ethiopia is in the Horn of Africa, East Africa. I am full Ethiopian. Mother and father are Ethiopians. Therefore, I am black. Now, how do I identify myself as a black woman living in London that grew up out of Ethiopia? Okay, so my stepfather was French. My father is black, but my stepdad was white. So when we moved to France and then to London, I was in a white school. So I never really had black friends until I left, until I was 18. Not because I didn't want to, but because there just wasn't any black people. There were two white people, there were two black people in my school. There were over 5,000 students. We were three black students. So we obviously knew each other and people knew us, you know, but in my school they never made me feel like I was inferior because I'm black, that, you know, they had like this sort of white supremacy. Never. All my best friends were white. All of them. And I love them dearly because they are amazing people. I never really faced racism, but I did at some point. So when I first came to France, I was about 4 years old. I went to school, and at this point, you know, I didn't know French. I didn't know how to speak French. I only knew Amharic, which is Ethiopian. I came with my mom and dad, and my mom and dad went to London for work, and I stayed with my grandmother. When I started school after a few months, I was being teased because of the color of my skin. That school also had no black students. I remember I had this girl that kept picking on me and that bullied me because of the color of my skin. Not because of how I acted, or she didn't try to get to know me, but she judged me because I was black. There were some students whose parents were waiting for them at the door, you know, at 4 o'clock when we finished schools, that were judging me because I was black. I had funny stares because I was black. But it never occurred to me that I was different. Never. It only occurred to me that I was different when people will tell me, oh, why are you black? We've never seen a black person before. And bear in mind, that's That's in 1999. So they were black people. But for them, it's just, you know, in this area in France, there was just no black people. I didn't care though. It never really creeped me out. I never really had any questions. I never cried about it. I was obviously picked on, and it was really hard because as I started to grow up, I knew I was different. Then I went to London. I came to London when I was about 12. When I came to London, it's a very multicultural city. So I saw a lot of different kind of people, you know. There were black people, white people, Asians, Indians, Chinese, dude. And I love that. I love the fact that London is so multicultural. I love the fact that I get to meet different type of people, interact with different type of people, understand and learn about other people's cultures. I love that. I personally love that. So when I started my school, it was a private French school. Like I said, we were about 2 or 3 black people. So I never really, I'm sorry to say, but I was never really interested in knowing more about my roots, only because when I was home, I was speaking in French. I was embedded in this sort of like French society, you know, French culture, French tradition, French school, French friends, you know, French everything, that I slowly started neglecting my roots and where I come from and my ancestors and, you know, how proud I should be to be African. So when I was about 17, I started to ask my mother questions, you know, about where I come from, and like the part of me that I never really, that I always felt like I missed out on. So I went back to Ethiopia when I was 17 for the first time, and I don't know what, but there was a click when I went back there. It's like everyone was so different. So as soon as I stepped out of the airport, you know, people are so lovely. You know, people are, they always smile. They've got nothing, but they always smile. They smile with nothing. Homeless people smile with nothing. It's like a different sort of identity. And I saw people that looked like me, you know, and I saw people that were so proud, like, of our culture. And I thought, oh my God, like, what have I been missing out on? And that's when you can see a video up below. That's when I started activism and knowing more about who I was, what I am, you know, where, how I came here, and where I wanted to go as a black woman. And when I started university in city London in Angel, you know, there were a lot of black students. So I joined the what was it? ACL, African Caribbean Society, ACS, African Caribbean Society. And I met a lot of black people from Ghana, from Kenya, Nigeria. You know, I had a lot of different cultures and traditions next to me. And so obviously once we started to learn more about each other, I started really appreciating Africans. Because bear in mind, for 17 years of my life, no, for about 14 years of my life, I was embedded in this sort of French bubble, you know, learning about French things and eating French food and speaking the French language, which is probably why my accent is a bit weird, because it's a mixture of everything. Then when I was, you know, uni, that's why uni is so great, is because you get to meet a lot of different type of people. Now, when, you know, when I left uni and I started learning more about how the world works, that's where there's a problem. When you get a job, you get looked down upon when you're black. So I worked in very big corporations, you know, I worked in Credit Suisse, I worked in Bank of America, I worked Thomson Reuters, very big white corporations. And I don't know if, like some people say, is because I'm maybe perhaps lighter than black people. I've never really had a problem, but I always still felt that there was something different. Like, I would never be on their level. No, because when you would go into Credit Suisse, it would always be older white male. And when they saw me for the first time walking in those doors, they never judged me, don't get me wrong. I never had any problems. They were always very lovely to me, but you could always feel it though in the air that there was an issue, you know. Anyway, now that's over. For me, as a black woman, I am proud of my roots, you know. I am proud of where I come from. I am proud of the color of my skin. I am a proud African women. Now, it does not mean because I am proud that I am a fool. It does not mean because I love my roots and my ancestors that I can be looked upon. And it could not mean that because I know where I come from, people can mock me for it. No. You know why? Because I matter. Black lives matters. They do. They do. Black lives are not inferior to white lives. They are nothing. I don't like people that say, this race, that race, this race. There is no black race. There is no human race. There is only one race, and that is the human race, okay? We are all human. We are all born the same. We are all born with the same, veins, with the same blood. You are not born, we are all born equal. Now, is it true that when you are born a black man or a black woman, you have less opportunities in some countries and cities? Yes. Is it right? No. But is it factual? Yes. Now, is the government trying to change it? They are in some parts. There are some MPs. Now we see some MPs that are trying to, put the equalities and fairness in finding jobs for the youth, making sure that the crime rates are not as exuberant as they want it to be, and making sure that there's equal opportunities for women and for men. But even with that, there's an issue. Women are still paid less than men, but black women are undervalued. Black women are undervalued in their jobs, in their position, in their education. And so are black men. They are undervalued and they are rich. They are rich in qualities. They have so much qualities. Black people have so much strength, as much as white people do. But now, in this society, we are forced to, operate in a system where you stay black and white because there is the white supremacy. Now, let's look at police brutality. I live in London. In London, there's a lot of stabbing, there's a lot of crimes. A lot of crimes. There's been crimes not far from my neighborhood. I've seen people get stabbed. I've never been stabbed now. I have never had an issue. In my life, I pray to God and I thank God that I've been lucky enough. But I've had friends that died of stabbing. I've had friends that were stabbed in university. I've seen it with my own eyes. Now in America, it's another issue. Of course, we've got police brutality here. But in America, in the US, especially in some states, police brutality is just, oh my God, it's unthinkable. You're a black man or you're a black child, you're a black woman, you walk out of your house and you have maybe 5 out of 10 chances that you're gonna get pulled over, in the car. Maybe you've got a nice car because you work bloody hard at it. But if your black man is seen as in a nice car, he'll get pulled over. Show me your identification. How did you get this car? Why are you even asking me how I got this car? This is none of your beeswax. It's none of your business. I got this car with my hard-earned money. Now I know. I'm putting aside dealers. I'm putting aside people who use money with, with criminal activity, and I do not condone that. But the majority of people that are pulled over or that are questioned in public places, they are questioned because of the color of their skin. End of. That's the only reason why. And this is not normal in the 21st century to still be questioned because you are black. You are black and so what? Being black does not mean that I am inferior to you. I matter. You matter. And black lives matter. George Floyd's life mattered. What did he ask for? I do not condone what he did. He went to the shop and he gave fake money. But when the man called the police officer to take him, he did not think that that same man would be killed the same day. He called the police officer because what he did was wrong, and hell yes, it was wrong. You do not pay with fake money. But does it give him the right to get killed in such a horrific way for that reason? No, it does not. And if it was a white man, let's say George Floyd was white now. It's a white man, right? He pays with fake money. Would he have been killed? With a knee on his neck? Would that have happened? No, definitely not. That would have not happened. If George Floyd was a white man, he would have gone to the police station. Someone would have bailed him out, and he would be eating with his children and his wife as we speak. But George Floyd was a black man. He was a black man driving a big car, and he was resistant. He resisted the police officer that wanted to take him out of the car. And for that sole reason, that man, that police officer, took it upon himself, right? He took it upon himself to drag George out of the car, put his knee on his neck without letting him breathe for 9 minutes. And do not forget the 3 police officers that were hiding behind the truck, behind the van, because they were there. Okay? It was not only 1 police officer on George Floyd's neck. There were 3 at the back. 2 on his back and 1 on his back knee, right? And 1 on his neck. And George Floyd repeatedly asked, please, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. And you can hear in his voice that he was not lying. Okay? The man could not breathe. But even so the man could not breathe, you continued, right? You continued to press on his neck. And it was later found when the ambulance took him, after the autopsy was shown, that he died because of bad circulation. And that makes me so angry now. Because this is not the first black man that was killed by police brutality. Oh no. That was not the first, and it will certainly not be the last. Because it seems like the white supremacy in America think they've got some sort of power. And, that they've got some sort of identity crisis where they think they are entitled to kill black people now. But where does this entitlement come from? Black men, black human beings made America what it is today. They made everything. They did everything. They constructed everything. They did everything. But still, to this day and age, they are killed. And right in front of us. And I thank God for social media. Because social media is such a powerful tool. It's a tool where you are able to share with your readers, with your viewers, documents, links, data that the news would not share with you. Okay? Those protests that were made by people, angry people like me. You know what? I might live in the UK, but it concerns me as much as it concerns you. Okay? I've seen some comments about protesters that protested in Hyde Park on Wednesday, asking, why do they protest for a black man that lives in the US? You are a fool. You are a fool. This is more than George Floyd. This is more than that. This issue now, it's like when there's an escalation of things where you let it pass, you let it pass, you let it pass. And it comes to the point where there's boiling water. And the boiling water is going to tip. Okay? George Floyd was that boiling water. The anger that shook the nation. And not only the nation of America, but Europe, Africa. Okay? The UK. Everywhere. Everyone has a right to protest for George Floyd because he could have been you. I could have been him. He could have been your brother. He could have been your father. He could have been your son. Okay? He could have been any one of them. Now, does it mean because we protest for George Floyd that we don't care about what's happening in the UK? Absolutely not. But this is a good way to start opening the eyes of people that do not care. Okay? Because George Floyd is you, is me, is all of us. Now, the problem with the protest that I find is that in America, you know, it comes to a point where the people are so angry now that the protest turns into riots, the riots turns into looting, and then the looting is all that the cameras see, like, is all that the cameras record. You know, whenever there's a protest there, especially when it comes to BLM, Black Lives Matter, is they will show black people going in the shop, taking all the clothes of the big corporation shops, doing all things like that. Listen, that is not the issue. I know for a fact, right? My friend was in Atlanta, and I had a friend in Minneapolis as well. They were there in the protest. They met people who were paid to loot. Okay? They were paid £250 to go in the shop and take the things. And who were they paid by? The government. Now, this is not what you should care about. I do not condone looting because you are destroying someone's shop, someone that had nothing to do with it, you know, someone that's worked hard for it. And I don't condone people like that. I heard about George Floyd. I was distraught. I was so distraught because I couldn't believe that it was happening yet again. But what really shocked me is the video. You know, it was right there in front of me. I could see the man dying in front of me. And that anger, that was too much anger for me. That anger just escalated to a point where I was like, you know what? If there's a protest, I'm going. I didn't have to think twice about going to the protest in Hyde Park. I didn't have to think about it twice. So first of all, I didn't hear about the protest in Trafalgar Square. I don't know why, but I didn't see any flyer. I should have checked on the internet, but I didn't. Anyway, when I got the news that there was a protest, even though there's a pandemic, bear in mind, right? I've been in my house for 14 weeks now. 14 weeks, I have never gone out of my house. 14 weeks since this coronavirus, I have only gone out of my house once a week, every Saturday to Asda or Morrison's, whatever, to do my weekly grocery shopping. That is it. I have never, ever, ever taken the risk of going out of infecting myself or infecting others. Now, when this protest happened, 100% I was going to be there. Like, it's not even a question. And I don't care if you judge me for it. You know what? I understand that there is a risk of infecting others. But you know what? Corona is not only the only pandemic, okay? COVID-19, fuck COVID-19. It's not the only pandemic in this situation. Racism is, okay? Racism is. And for racism, I'm going to protest until I am tired, until I am exhausted, until my knees wobble, even if there is a pandemic and there is nothing that you can do about it. You hear me? Nothing. Because this pandemic is nothing compared to racism, okay? Black people had enough now. We have had enough because we matter as much as you do, okay? And my white friends, when I was at the protest, they were white people, you know, they're fighting for our cause as well. So I am not here telling you white people are bad or what. No, 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 because most of my friends are white. But they are white and they know what's wrong, because you can be white, pink, salmon, purple, it doesn't matter. You know right from wrong, okay? You have a brain to think, you have ears to listen, and you have eyes to see, my brother. And that is wrong, because Black Lives Matter, okay? We really do. And it's about time that the government changes, because the UK is not innocent too. The UK is not innocent. The UK is not innocent. We face racism here in London as well. It is not innocent. But right now, Black community, we need to face it together. We need to hold hands. No matter what they throw at us, let's not show them that we are looters or that we are bad people. Let's show them that we can protest in peace. Let's show them what we are made of. And let's show them that thousands and thousands of voices, they can make a change, because we will make a change. We will make a change, because I have had enough now. Okay? My people are killed every single day. Every single day they are killed, mistreated. It's completely absurd. And what am I to do? Stay home and watch TV? Hell no. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Now, if you want to change, if you want to make change, you see, there is a way to do it. You know, you can be even just talking about it with your family and friends, sharing ideas. You can protest in the street. You can donate if you have money. Don't ever feel bad if you can't donate, if you don't have money. There's other ways to do it. Sign petitions. Phone the MPs. Write to the MPs. Go to Parliament. Do things that will make a change. Because we are here for a change now. That's what we are here for. And I send my sincere condolences, for the Floyd family and for all black families that had to endure watching their child die, or their brothers or their fathers die because of this white supremacy. We are done with it now. So, my people, this was just a video to share my views and to share my feelings about Black Lives Matter and the death of George Floyd. And I'm sorry I was emotional, but this is something that's uncontrollable. I cannot control it, okay? This is what happens. This is me. And I hope that you enjoyed the video, and please join the movement and do anything that you can to help the black community. Peace.